Okay, so for the Graces, I've got more figures happening, which apart from Orpheus and Eurydice is the first one where there is more than one figure. And with Orpheus and Eurydice, they were just silhouettes. So yeah, this added an extra dimension to the whole thing. If you saw my introduction video to Inktober, I talked about where I was getting my references from, and in this case, all three are from Pre-Raphaelite paintings. I know off the top of my head the middle one is from a Rossetti painting, and I think the other two might be from Burne-Jones, but I'll have to check that. But yeah, they are figures that you would find in those paintings. At least at the beginning, and I've changed a few things. So I've adapted, for instance, the way the middle woman's arm is going. I needed it to be sort of further up to, I guess, just make the whole composition work a bit better. And yeah, I've changed the way their hair is as well, and what they're wearing, so that I have adapted to some extent, and as they're all from different paintings, putting them together is another sort of thing that I've done. So yeah, the colours in this one, because people have been asking me about how I choose colours, and at this point I'm sort of looking up at the wall that you will have seen in the little intro there. I've got all my Inktober's up on the wall, and I want them to work well as a collection. And at the moment that means adding in some colours that I haven't used as much, and green was one of them. And so green also works very well for obviously anything nature related, and I really wanted to use green and orange together in at least one piece, so this seemed like a good opportunity to do that. I don't have a lot to say about the Graces, or the Charities as they're sometimes known. They're three minor goddesses from Greek mythology. They, according to Wikipedia, which I've got up on this page here, they represent a variety of things, including, and now I can't find it. Yes, so charm, beauty, nature, creativity, fertility. So just generally good things. They're figures that turn up in art quite a bit as sort of, they're a bit like the muses in some ways, and I guess they're easier to paint because there are three of them rather than more. I think there are 9 muses. So yes, and they have a lovely balance to them because there are 3. Visually they work very well, and often they're depicted in a circle, sort of all embracing each other in a circle, dancing, or kind of moving in some quite languid, fluid way. And obviously that's a stylistic choice as well. But yeah, so here I have them facing out the way, maybe that they're sharing their goodness with the world. And yes, the oranges were not particularly symbolic of the Charities, but I did, like I said, I wanted to use the colour orange, so my choices here weren't so much to do with the symbolism of these characters, but were more to do with how I wanted the design to look. And normally I like to have a nice balance of both, but hey ho, in this case I felt I needed to just explore a little bit in these different colours. And that's kind of what Inktober is about as well, is playing around with some different things, and colour is one of those for me this year. So I just want to talk a little bit about Inktober so far, because we're now up to day 21, so there are only 10 days to go. I say only. We're over 2/3 of the way there. It has been quite challenging, and I knew it was going to be because I was pretty ambitious with it this year. Previously I've done much smaller works, and I haven't really included figures in my Inktober pieces before. I think there might be one or two exceptions to that, but yeah, for the most part, this isn't something I do much of. So that was a big motivator in doing Inktober this year. And yeah, I've actually found it very kind of stimulating creatively. So I've learned a lot along the way, and it's been really helpful actually having all of the pieces up on my wall, because then I can look at them and go, okay, well, these are the things that worked, these are the things that didn't so much, these are the directions I want to continue in. And that is the kind of thing that you do, I think, as an artist generally, but it's nice to do it in quite a condensed time, and to be able to look back at something that you did a week ago and then do something better the next week. That's quite satisfying, because I find that with Inktober you do improve in different techniques much quicker than you would if you were doing, say, a piece a week. So that's definitely the beauty of doing this challenge, but I think in order to really make it work, you do need to be quite tactical about it, as well as, so knowing your goals ahead of time, and knowing what you want to get out of it, as well as sort of evaluating as you go. I think that's a really important part of the process, and it's a big part of working as an artist or an illustrator, or doing art of any kind, anything creative. It really helps to take stock of what you've done and evaluate what worked, what didn't. And I definitely recommend anyone who does anything artistically and wants to improve to do that constantly, but maybe to have more formal, maybe sit downs and looking through what you've done maybe every 6 months at the most. At the that should be the most the least frequent. No, which way am I going? You should do it at least that often is what I'm trying to say. So yes, one thing that I did learn looking back at what's been successful and what hasn't was the use of outline. The ones where I haven't used outline so heavily, I don't think are as successful. So I look back to my earlier ones. The Persephone one, I didn't use outline as much as I have in these later ones, and if I were to do that one again, I would do it with more outline. The other thing that I wanted to ask you about is what I should do for my final piece, which is, I've just put as Zeus's Choice. It's just it's an open-ended prompt, so because I knew that this list was not going to be super comprehensive, and it's more skewed towards the things that I like drawing, and the myths that I find compelling. So yes, if you have any suggestions about what I could do for the final one, one that wasn't on the prompt list, then I would be much obliged. I have a few ideas, but yeah, would definitely like to know what you guys think, because I value your opinion. So as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this little ramble about the Inktober process. Follow me over on Instagram if you're not already, where you can see all of the finished pieces so far and the ones that I am going to do. And I will see you tomorrow for Pandora. Alrighty, bye.